Are you a comic book enthusiast who's on a tight budget? Then you've come to the right place. In this video, we'll be taking a look at 10 incredible comics that you can purchase for under $100. We've got a range of genres covered, from thrilling superhero tales to mind-bending sci-fi adventures and everything in between. Regardless of whether you're a seasoned collector or a newcomer to the world of comics, we're confident that you'll find something to enjoy in our selection. So kick back, relax, and prepare to discover some fantastic reads that won't leave a dent in your wallet. Let's kick the list off with an entry from the best side imprint in the history of comics, Vertigo. Coming in at number 10 is Preacher #1. Published in April 1995, the issue really jumped out on the stand with a fantastic painted cover from Glenn Fabry. Inside the issue, the Garth Ennis story and Steve Dillon art introduced most of the series' principal characters, including Jesse Custer, Cassidy, Tulip, Hugo Root, and the Saint of Killers. In 2016, AMC released a show based on the series, which drove values for this issue north of $200. Those prices have come down considerably now that we're more than 3 years removed from the end of the show back in the fall of 2019. Currently, you should be able to pick up a high-grade copy of this one for right around $80. For our number 9 book, I'm going to talk about this issue one more time because it just seems way too undervalued at the moment. Captain America #6. After being included in the Summer Comics to Invest in video in the summer of 2022, it seemed like a great opportunity to send out another reminder to the community of just how cheap this book is at the moment, before the hype machine for Captain America 4 or the Thunderbolts ramps up and everybody potentially wakes up. Currently selling at $85 for the A cover and just $115 for the variant cover, this is a book that's down about $100 in the last 2 years since The Falcon and the Winter Soldier premiered on Disney+. You know the drill on this one. Published in June 2005, Steve Epting art, Ed Brubaker story, first appearance of the Winter Soldier. We've talked about it before. If you want it, now is as good of a time to get it as I've seen in the last 4 or 5 years. And while we're here, let's revisit one more book before we finish out with 7 comics I promise we haven't talked about in recent memory. At the number 8 spot, we have Booster Gold #1. Booster Gold 1 is up 20% in value since we last mentioned it in the summer edition of the Top 10 Comics on a $100 budget back in 2022. The DC slate revealed from James Gunn has shot this book to the top of a number of hot comics lists, and it's been the driving force behind that 20% jump in value. The character is being developed for a TV series over on HBO Max, which naturally doesn't have a release date yet, like most of the projects that were revealed. As of the recording of this video though, high-grade raw copies were averaging sales in the $90 range, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this one climb beyond $100 sometime soon. Booster Gold #1 was published in February 1986 and features the character's first appearance. Dropping in at the number 7 spot is the first appearance of another character that we're going to see returning to the MCU in the upcoming Thunderbolts film, Yelena Belova, the Black Widow. Our number 7 book is Inhumans #5. Published in March 1999, there's actually a little bit of uncertainty about whether Inhumans 5 is a full appearance or a cameo appearance for Yelena, with the other book in question being June 1999's Black Widow #1. The market has seemingly favored Inhumans 5 as the $80 average sales price for this one well outpaces the $50 price point you'll find for a copy of Black Widow 1. Inhumans 5 has a great Jay Lee Black Bolt cover, and we also see Lee handle the interior art duties as well, while Paul Jenkins provides the script for the story titled First Contact. Coming in the number 6 spot is Batman Beyond #2. Batman Beyond #1 has been hot for a while now, as it's the first appearance of Terry McGinnis, but it's actually our number 6 book, Batman Beyond #2, where McGinnis suits up as Batman for the very first time. Published in April 1999, this issue has the greatest story title for a Batman comic ever, I Am Batman. Written by Hilary Bader, with interior art from Rick Burchett and cover art from Bruce Timm, this issue is actually an adaptation of the first episode of the Batman Beyond TV show. And for good measure, Batman Beyond #2 also features a cameo appearance of Blight, the main villain of the following issue. Currently selling for right at $75, this book has the payoff you won't get in Batman Beyond #1 for less than 25% of that book's price. What would a top 10 list be without a little hit of nostalgia? Well, our nostalgia fix comes in the number 5 spot this time out with Thundercats #1. Published by the Marvel Comics imprint Star Comics, in December 1985, the Thundercats were one of the mid-80s best cartoon series. This issue is loaded with first appearances including Lion-O, Cheetara, Panthro, Tigra, Snarf, Wily Kit, Wily Cat, Mumra, Jackalman, Monkeyan, and Slyth. Artist Jim Mooney provided both the cover and interior art, while David Michelini scripted the adaptation of the original Leonard Starr screenplay. After jumping in value during the recent boom, Thundercats #1 is coming down from the rafters and is now dropped back within our $100 budget. Currently selling for right at that $100 mark, this may be one to keep your eye on for a further drop in value if you're not in a hurry to add it to your collection right now. Okay, so let's double tap the nostalgia in this top 10. But for our number 4 book, we're going 90s style with Men in Black #1. Several years before Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith suited up, Aircel Comics published Men in Black #1 in January 1990. I recently showed a copy of this book that I picked up in the 17K collection, and I realized that I'd never talked about this book before. The painted cover was provided by Max Fellwalker, and the story was written by Lowell Cunningham, and Sandy Carruthers drew the interior art. This issue features the first appearance of all your favorite MIB characters such as Agents Z, K, and J. This 3-issue miniseries has been a challenging one for me to track down in the wild, but they are generally available via the comic book convenience store we all know as eBay. The average sales price for a high-grade copy is currently in the neighborhood of $85, which seems like a pretty decent value if you watched Men in Black as many times as I did back in the day. There are certain pairings of creator and character in the comic book hobby that require a certain amount of reverence. Kirby and Captain America, McFarlane and Spider-Man, Adams and O'Neill and Batman. And our number 3 book highlights the beginning of another classic pairing, Miller and Daredevil, and it all began in Daredevil 158. True, this is not the first time that Miller drew Daredevil. That happened over in Spectacular Spider-Man 26, and we've talked about that. However, Daredevil 158 is the first time Frank Miller's name graced the credits of the Daredevil title. Starting out with the interior and cover art duties, in just 10 issues Miller would take over the scripting for the series as well, and turn the title from a C-tier monthly offering to one of the hottest titles in the entire Marvel line. Published in May 1979, Miller was paired up with Roger McKenzie, who handled the writing duties, and Klaus Janson on inks. Daredevil 158 is selling for right at $100 in the current market. Swamp Thing was the one announcement in the DC slate reveal that I can say I'm legitimately excited for. I've always been a Swamp Thing fan, dating back to the old TV show and the great early 90s toy line, and while House of Secrets 92 has been heating up for a while, Swamp Thing #1 is starting to lift in price as well. But our number 2 book, Swamp Thing #2, is a great affordable alternative if one of those other issues is outside of your price range. Published in December 1972, Swamp Thing 2 is just the 3rd appearance overall for Swamp Thing, and it's just the 2nd appearance of the Alec Holland Swamp Thing. In addition to that, we also get the first full appearances of a good chunk of Swamp Thing's classic villains in this issue. Anton Arcane and the Unmen get the full reveal treatment after cameoing in the first issue, and Gregory Arcane, better known as the Patchwork Man, makes a cameo appearance as well. Swamp Thing #2 features the original Swamp Thing creative team of Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson, and they would continue their run through issue 10 when Wrightson would leave the book. Currently selling for $85 for high-grade raw copies, I've been a big proponent of this series for a long time. If you're looking for a small DC or 70s horror comic run to add to your collection, Swamp Thing 1 through 10 is a great option. Before we get to the number 1 book, I've got to say it's hard to believe that as I sit here recording this video, we're only 3 weeks away from the kickoff of our convention season for 2023. 2023 will be a first for the Como crew as we've booked multiple multi-day shows for the year. In the past, we've typically only had a single multi-day show on the calendar, and in case you're wondering where you can find us, we can get the party started at Planet Comic Con Kansas City, March 16th, 17th, and 18th. Our next stop will be in Indianapolis for the Indiana Comic Convention on May 5th, 6th, and 7th, and the newest date that we've added to our calendar belongs to Des Moines Con in Des Moines, Iowa, June 3rd and 4th. If you'll be in the area for one of these shows, be sure to swing by the booth and say hi. Keep an eye on our Instagram and YouTube community pages, as we'll be sure to post our booth numbers as they come available. Also, we're getting closer and closer to the 10,000 subscriber giveaway. The first step in being eligible for one of the giveaway items is to be subscribed to the channel, so if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button and tune into the 10K subscriber video with all the details on how to win that will be uploaded once we cross the 10,000 subscriber mark. And now, let's take a look at the #1 book. The King of the Mountain for the Spring 2023 Top 10 Comics for a $100 budget is Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2, number 36. Published in December 2001, ASM 36 is a tribute issue to the heroes of the September 11th attacks. The black cover, with nothing but the trade dress and white lettering, is stark and instantly catches your eye. In a medium that is all visual, the dark abyss of this cover alerts the reader that this isn't business as usual. The story from J. Michael Straczynski recounts the earliest moments of the recovery effort, showing Marvel's stable of heroes working alongside police, firefighters, and first responders at Ground Zero. John Romita Jr. handles the art duties for this issue, which convey the somber tone one would expect from such a tale. For those of us who lived through the day, this book holds a special place. It's not flashy, it's not a thrilling tale, but it captures what a lot of us were feeling at the time. It's one of the finest examples of why Marvel Comics have resonated with readers for so long. While they may not be based in reality, the setting for the Marvel Universe is our world, and the ability to weave in real-world events into the stories and events makes them more relatable. We lived through it. Our favorite characters lived through it. We lived through it together. It's powerful stuff. ASM 36 has been on a slow, fairly steady increase in value over the years. From $25 to $50 to $75, up to the current price of $85 for a raw high-grade copy. I think in time, this book will go down as a critical moment for the hobby, and I also think it makes a fine addition to anyone's comic collection. Collect responsibly, and I'll see you in the next video.